She gave up everything, her family, her job, her reputation, for the man she thought was her forever. But in the end, the one person she trusted the most became the very reason she lost it all. She had just moved from Enugu to Lagos to take up a new job at a law firm. Patrick was charming, intelligent, and wildly ambitious. He ran a boutique tech startup and claimed he was on the brink of landing a multi-million naira investment. Their paths crossed at a seminar on entrepreneurship, and by the end of the week, they were inseparable. This is the chilling story of a woman who fought for love and was betrayed in the most unimaginable way. But for Patrick's car repairs, his business expenses, and even his mother's fictitious medical bills. Whenever she questioned him, he would gaslight her with phrases like, Amaka was 29 when she met Patrick. Despite her family's concerns that everything seemed to be moving too fast, Amaka insisted Patrick was the one. He said all the right things, made all the right moves, and made her feel seen, something she hadn't experienced in years. Patrick twisted the story, blaming it on a jealous ex trying to ruin his relationship. When he told her that he had fallen on hard times and needed a temporary place to stay, she didn't hesitate. She welcomed him into her apartment. The office space Patrick claimed they rented turned out to be a fake address. The accounts were empty. And Amaka was broke. That decision would be the first domino in a chain of betrayal. She raced home. He was gone. So were his clothes, his laptop, and the documents tied to the so-called startup. Within months, Amaka found herself paying not just for rent. But I'm Patrick's wife. We've been married for 2 years. He said you were just a business associate. Do you think I'm using you? After everything we've been through? Every investor he mentioned was a ghost. Amaka said yes, tears streaming down her face. Which, according to him, was about to take off with a new investor from Dubai. They had all been tricked, used, and discarded by a man who preyed on intelligent, independent women. He claimed they'd soon be rich beyond their wildest dreams. She believed him. She believed in him. Even when she discovered a suspicious message on his phone from a woman saved as Uche Mechanic. Testimonies from victims, and even voice recordings Amaka had secretly captured during their relationship. And Amaka? She chose love. Again. One rainy evening, Patrick proposed. He didn't have a ring, but he got down on one knee and promised her the world. Soon after, Patrick convinced her to resign from her high-paying law job to help manage his startup. She faced ridicule from friends and even judgment from family. Some called her gullible, others desperate. Amaka handed over her savings to invest in the company and began working full-time from their apartment, handling communications, legal paperwork, and social media for a tech platform that barely existed. 6 months later, the cracks became impossible to ignore. The investor never called. I fought for love, and I don't regret that. What I regret is not walking away the moment my gut said something was wrong, or fallen for the same trap. Tell us in the comments. And don't forget, secrets of the case are never what they seem. Then came the biggest blow. She received a message on Instagram from a woman named Halima. Hi Amaka, I don't know how to tell you this. Amaka's world came crashing down. She called Patrick. He didn't answer. All she found was a handwritten note, I'm sorry. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Devastated but determined, Amaka reported Patrick to the police. But tracking him proved difficult. His ID was fake. His business name was unregistered. Eventually, she found out his real name wasn't even Patrick, it was Obiora Okafor, a known conman who had been previously arrested for online fraud and was wanted in Port Harcourt for duping another woman. As the investigation unfolded, more women came forward, 5 in total, each with similar stories. One had even taken out a loan for him and was still paying it off. 9 months after he vanished, a tip came in from a hotel receptionist in Owerri who recognized Obiora from a wanted poster. When the police arrived, he was with yet another woman, this time, a university student he had promised a scholarship and an apartment. He was arrested without resistance and taken to Lagos to face charges of fraud, identity theft, and emotional abuse. In court, he showed no remorse. He smirked when Amaka took the stand, trying to paint himself as a man who was just misunderstood. But the evidence was overwhelming: bank transfers, fake business proposals. After a 6-month trial that made headlines across Nigeria, Obiora was sentenced to 15 years in prison without the possibility of parole. But for Amaka, there was no victory in the verdict. Only scars. She had lost her job, her savings, and years of her life. But Amaka stood tall. She later started an NGO aimed at helping women recognize and escape manipulative relationships, offering legal advice and emotional support. Today, Amaka shares her story not out of shame, but to expose a truth too many are afraid to face: love should never cost you your dignity, your career, or your identity. Amaka gave her all, only to be betrayed by the man she trusted the most. But she turned her pain into purpose. Would you have seen the red flags?